remember the day I realized my mom was declining. She was walking down the sidewalk, and I was watching her, and it hit me. She was really slowing down. When did this happen? Am I ready for this? Why is this so hard? Why is this job so tough? We've all been taking care of ourselves our whole lives, so how hard could it be to take care of someone else? I mean, how hard can it really be to take care of a little old lady? I eat, she can eat with me. All I have to do is remind her to take her meds, help her with a shower. How hard can it be? Don't worry, Mom. I promise I'll never put you in a nursing home. I'll stay home and take care of you. Good intentions, but sometimes these promises are unrealistic. A lot might have changed since those promises were made. I took care of my kids. How could this be that much harder? I can do it all. I am Superwoman. We women especially feel a duty to take care of our parents. We will go until we drop. I know, I've been there too. My name is Deborah Costu. I've owned a home care agency for almost 2 decades, and I've worked with hundreds of families in the same situation. I've seen the struggles firsthand. It's hard. And just so you know, I have more information and resources on my website, answersabout.alz.org, and our fabulous Facebook group, Answers About Aging and Alzheimer's. Join us there. We would love to have you. And since we're on the subject, would you mind terribly tapping that subscription button for me? It helps YouTube push these important videos out to others in need. Thanks. So please know that when you're caregiving, you are not alone. Many of us feel that it is our obligation to do it all. If not us, then who? Our parents did so much for us. Now it's our turn to pay it back. It's easy to predict the future and think that we can do it all. But when the time comes, it can be very overwhelming. We often don't have a clear picture of all the details involved in caregiving. It's much tougher than we give it credit. If you're a full-time caregiver, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's hard, brutal. I think that one of the toughest parts is that it can happen really fast. You get a call from the hospital in the middle of the night, Mom fell, or Dad calls and says, Mom wandered off today. It seems like the need happens really fast, and we haven't prepared for this. You go from a normal day to suddenly taking care of 2 homes, 2 families, and total chaos. It's now that you realize that you don't know much about Mom or Dad's medical history, legal documents, medications, final wishes, financial status, bank accounts, insurance, and all that boring stuff. Oh, and even wills. It can hit you like a ton of bricks. Oh my God, Mom is gonna die someday. All of a sudden, it gets real. All of a sudden, you look at the person and you realize that they're old and frail. It's scary. When did this happen? How did this happen? These are situations that are inevitable, and yet we don't prepare. It can just spring up on you out of nowhere. I remember the day that I realized my mom was declining. It was about, probably about 7 or so years ago. I dropped her off at her condo. It was a crisp, sunny day. She got out of the car and began to walk down the sidewalk. And I was watching her, and it hit me. Man, she is really slowing down. It looks like her purse is this huge weight and a struggle for her. I was for the first time seeing my mom as an elderly, frail woman. I will never forget that day. I'll never look at my mom the same again. She was different. I was different. Am I ready for this? How is this going to go down? As I watched her walk away, I started to realize both of our lives were changing, and I didn't like it. I sit there parked on the side of her building, my mind playing a movie of possible future scenarios. For the first time, I'm not looking forward to my future or hers. So sometimes an event or a medical emergency can throw us into an unexpected caregiver role. Other times it can begin slowly and get used to a caregiving role that will kind of slowly snowball and evolve into a more time commitment of providing care for someone. Even when care ramps up over time, it can be just as surprising, like in my case. Another reason caregiving can be so hard is because it can be a 24-hour job. So in addition to all of the responsibilities you had prior to being a full-time or even more than full-time caregiver, now you have a whole new set of tasks to do. Most caregivers spend so much time and energy on others that they ignore or put off their own health concerns. Would it shock you to hear that 59% of family caregivers of people with dementia rated stress levels as high or very high? It's a lot to take on. When those we love begin to struggle, we naturally want to jump in and help. Most of us don't even think about it, we just do it. That's our nature. That's what I love about us humans. When times are at their worst, we humans are at our best. When we don't prepare, though, things are even harder. If we have a plan, things will typically go easier, but that's not the norm. These are the things we usually don't put a lot of effort into until we have to. Sure, you may have had friends in similar situations, but it's just a conversation. Your friend says, "Oh my God, I'm exhausted. Mom's in the hospital and I have to work all day. I can't take any more time off of work. I go up to the hospital or the rehab to visit her. On the way home, I stop and get groceries. My kids aren't doing their homework. My house is a disaster. And oh crap, I forgot to go to the bank yesterday." It's a lot to juggle. What's going to happen when mom comes home? Because you know, they kick you out fast. When the hospital or the rehab says it's time to go, you've maybe got a day or two, and that's being generous. What are you going to do? Use all your vacation time and PTO, if you haven't already, back and forth from your house to mom's house? What if you live out of town? These are not minor things to solve. We all want the best for our family members, and we certainly don't want to see them hurting or struggling. When it comes to caregiving, most of us don't have any professional experience. Sure, we can get by with the basic needs, meals, hygiene, housekeeping. Meds can be overwhelming. This can be a real eye-opener when you see all of the medications and realize there is no way in hell they've been managing with all that. You look in the fridge and you find expired, moldy foods. Things might be a little more complicated than you first thought. It's a rude awakening. Decline. We realize our loved one isn't immortal. We can see the future is not so clear. These are uncharted waters. How do we prevent falls? Coordinate all the doctor's appointments. Suggest adult underwear and talk about the very sensitive topics of driving or assisted living or home care. When we're unprepared for this season of our lives, it makes it even harder. When you're focusing on your loved one's quality of life, make sure that you and your family are not suffering. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Listen to yourself and others. If a friend is telling you that you need a break, chances are you do. Be open to accepting help and know your limitations. Make promises to yourself and keep those promises. Set boundaries. Build your team, people to talk to, people to confide in, people to help you provide care. the better you feel, the better the care you will be able to provide. Above all, be true to yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a break. Only you can be honest with yourself about how realistic your role is and how long you can keep going at that pace. You've got this, and I'm here for you. Together we can. If you're a nurse, a doctor, a CNA, an HHA, if you work in dining services or housekeeping services, these videos are for you. And if you're here, it means that this topic interests you and that you really care. But I'm going to tell you a little secret. Pretty soon, I'm going to be launching a certification training program. So if you want to up your game, if you want to walk into your boss's office and ask for a raise because you've had these trainings and you really know then you're going to want to sign up for these training classes. They are going to blow you away. And the reason I can say that is because I've taken all these other courses and I know how this compares to them. They're not even in the same category. So you can put your email address down there. You can go to my website, answersaboutalz.org, and drop me a note, and I'll make sure that you get on the waiting list, and I'll inform you and let you know when that training program is going to start.